we're talking a quarter I've worked with you. And in a quarter, I've gone from this glorious idea that I think I wanted to do something with language, not real sure. I had a totally different plan. Then I sat down and had a 10-minute conversation with August, and she was like, no, you're not going to do that. So the plans changed, but the plans changed actually for the better, because actually I think it's where I am. I've got 2 clients. Hopefully there'll be a third by the end of this week coming up. So it's actually been amazing. A lot of the things I've learned so much in this short time period, just working with you the way that I have been, in terms of what does it look like to actually have an online business, and what do you need to do, what do you need to be thinking about, stuff that I wouldn't even have considered.
I know it's important for people to understand that you're not lost in a group. You know what I'm saying? When people hear group coaching, they're like, oh, I'm going to get put in a group with a whole bunch of other people. We're going to fumble our way around, and our leader is probably going to come in once a week, once or twice a month, do a video. You know, it's kind of like touch and go. I put some information out there and you do that. And so I want them to hear from the horse's mouth what that means, what you just said. That talks about how accessible I am.
Yeah, in there all the time, trying to make sure that we're getting the things that we need. A lot of what you do models what it is that you're expecting us to be able to do, or you have a very particular standard that you're expecting us to meet, and you just set it. And then you just sit there and wait and say, meet me there. And then we meet you there, because that's the expectation.
I want everybody that's watching to understand that you're actually a professor at a university.
Yes.
You're building your business while you're working a job, a full-time job. So all that success she talked about from June to October, I want to really make sure everybody caught that. So from June, you came with, and not disrespectfully, this lofty ideal or vision for business that was going to make you work harder, have inventory, and it was going to be a lengthy process. To revamping that process, you know, we talked about your success, how you've grown. We talked about the accessibility, how I'm there, how I set the standard by, you know, not just pushing you guys, telling you a bunch of stuff. I also wouldn't mind it if you could even touch like maybe on the mindset part and the level of support, basically literally spiritually and emotionally, because that's a big factor in business.
Right. Absolutely. Because, okay, you've changed the name of it. So the Up Level Your Boss Mindset challenge that you have, that was the first one that we did. And that was eye-opening, because it forces you to look at an aspect of your life that you might have given a negative connotation, and used it as the reason why you can't do certain things. And the way that you were able to work us through that and be able to see the other side of it was something that was really impactful for me, and I kept going with it, like still coming up, and then to the point where just recently I got in the group and I was like, oh my God, I just realized this thing, and this is what the issue is, and oh Jesus, and you sent me a private message. You're like, what's really going on, and asking those questions that would force you to really start it with that boss mindset challenge, but continues on even with just the regular day-to-day stuff. Like if we make the smallest comment or the smallest statement regarding our pricing, you're not talking to us about, oh, well, you know, I think you really need to see the value. It's not, what are you thinking about yourself that you don't think you can? We're like, wait. And it gets, what do you mean? I'm okay with this myself. No, you're not. Because if you were okay, then you would have done this, and you would have done this, and you would have done this. And because you didn't, and you didn't do this, that means that really the issue is somewhere over here. So let's go over there right quick. That's how I did that little August impersonation.
Why you flexing? Why you trying to look? If many times I pretended to be y'all, I guess I deserve that.
No,
so
I'm just saying it's happened enough for me. It's the highest form of flattery, of course, but it does go to say, it shows, like, in terms of the conversations that we've had have been so impactful that I'm able to repeat it like that. I'm able to say, hey, this is what it looks like. This is how it's going to come, because I'm at a point, I actually welcome it. It's like, I'm sitting here like, I think this, let me say this out loud, because I think she needs to give me some sight that I don't have. And so I'm going to say this, I'm going to put it in the group, and she's probably going to be like, girl, between me and one other person that's in the academy, that every once in a while you kind of tag us like, come here. This video is specifically for you.
No, good looking out. I appreciate that. So, because I don't want to take up your whole night. It's two other things that I want you to touch on. You say the impression of the lady August dead on, LOL. So, yeah, because me and Nikki had a private conversation. So, I'm sure she can remember her very well. Probably has mocked the mess out of me, but that's cool. But it's two other things, you know, if you don't mind elaborating on as well, is the mastermind calls and the camaraderie in the group, because even though I'm facilitating, you know, this summit that just passed shows how important it is to have a sisterhood.
The mastermind calls have been phenomenal. She's the challenge sheet, being able to just watch people do the challenge sheets and being able to see the types of questions that she asks. And actually that does help us in terms of the camaraderie part that you're talking about, like being able to spend that level of time with one another to dig deeper into what folks are doing in their business, to be able to hear the questions that people have, and to know that the mastermind calls is actually that space for each and every one of us to be able to know that we're being held by one another, because we're not, because nobody's up there. It's not about competition. It's not about what she's doing that I'm not doing. It's not about all of that. It's, hey, this is the issue that I'm having. And the issue can be as small as, do I want to make this $27 or $67? Or it could be as big as, look, for real, like I've been trying for months to get a client and I haven't gotten one. I don't know what I'm doing. And the questions that folks ask are able to help each and every one of us be able to see, not just the look at it from the outside with somebody else's eyes, but also allowing us to be able to feel the care that we have for one another. Like, no, we got your back, because look, you want to be successful and we want you to be successful. So that's why we're here, to make sure that that happens. And that spills over into all the other stuff that we do in the academy, all of our posts. We're in there. We have days where we're shouting out the stuff that we did right. We have days when we're like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going on with my life right now. And we all come in there and make sure it speaks directly to the type of person that August is, because we'll all come in and we'll say, woo, 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 but in our own way, whatever that style might be, whatever that personality might be, is woo, 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 but what you gonna do? And we all tend to ask that same question because you asked that question. You might say, you know, okay, so yeah, I understand it's a rough day, but and we all kind of do that same thing in order to make sure that we're keeping that going, but it makes everybody feel supported. Being there, it's about the person and not just the business. It's about the person who is running the business. And whatever you do for the person is going to have a positive impact on the business. So let's address this holistically and not just, let's just see what you're doing. Let's look at what your funnel looks like. Nah, because the funnel doesn't mean nothing if the person is whack. So you got to make sure that the person is also together in order to make sure that that works in a particular way. And you make sure that that happens in the academy.